A shorter story today, one to relax to as your bellies swell full of turkey and drink. Also, a sad story, in ways as well. The area is relatively small, and we got the perfect depressing weather to talk about it in. It's surrounded by relatively dangerous areas, and the beautiful backdrop of a knackered underpass. Before I tell you what it is, I want to remind you this is a shorter video, so if you like this format, let me know. The area is called the Electrical Hobbyist Club, and is located right outside the glowing sea, and near Natick. Let's gander. Now just outside is a plunger, immediately informing us that there are shenanigans afoot. The whole area is covered with extremely high levels of radiation, like it will kill you in a minute. Now at first glance, this doesn't seem too odd. A nuclear waste disposal site can be found near here, and we are near glowing sea. However, I think the presence of these barrels is due to another reason entirely, which we shall look at later. Also to be found here, as you can see, is a plutonium well. I think that's what these are anyway. Though I do think the barrels are what contribute most to the radioactivity of the area. Around the back is an old yard or storage area. Inexplicably, it's full of tires now. I say inexplicably, as this is common for many areas like these. The tires are huge, so I'm not sure how they could have been moved here post-war easily, and I don't see what use this club would have had pre-war for them. A few containers have been stacked up against the building on the right hand side. It seems like they were used to climb onto the roof, possibly by the resident here to repair it, or by someone else to try and get in. There is an intercom on the front door. It contains a recorded welcome message. It seems to be pre-war. We can give one of 4, mostly, similar replies. After that, the message box is full up. I have not included it here as it's not very interesting, and adds nothing to the story of this place. The only thing of interest is that it was able to take messages before we arrived, and we do find some of them later. Now, to head inside. There's a cellar to our right, and we shall explore it later. To our left is where the weird stuff is. A laser turret can be found perched on some computing equipment. It is set off by the 3 laser motion scanners here. They still move, even after you defuse them, which is odd, right? I mean, what is powering them at this point? We took out most of what should make them work, wires or no wires leading to the machine. Also, be mindful of the last one near the wall. It's close enough to a mine in the other room to set it off. Likely intentional on Bethesda's part. Shits. The next room is pretty wrecked. Indeed, most of the area is coming apart a bit. The traps placed at various points throughout it are enough to tell you that someone, post-war, set up here. That means that the tools and such we find lying around are likely from them as well. It looks like they also tried to add a protector onto their arsenal of traps, but they never managed to get it working. What this does tell us is that they were technologically skilled to some degree. Perhaps they even scavenged from the nearby robotics pioneer park. The room in the back contains what is likely the upper half of that protectron, so they definitely did not get very far with fixing it at all. More traps can also be found in here, ready to wipe out anyone who wanted to sneak in through the back door. Because fuck being a hospitable host for your guests. This creepy toilet can be found just off the main room. It appears to have also been trapped, and is accessible from the outside as well, which may explain why it was. The mannequin is just here for, I don't know, reasons? Throw people off or make them investigate perhaps, and then shoot them. Now, to head back to the start of the building and head down into the cellar to see what else there is to this story. So, absolute shocker, the cellar is also booby-trapped in many places. Like a lot of them. Makes you feel unwanted. You can find an electromagnet down here, which as we know are a bit of a bitch to find. So fucking score. Parts of the place have begun to collapse. However, it all has a more lived-in feel than the area above it did. Seems like this is what they were trying to protect. An assaultron is also part of the trap circus down here, so the person was quite skilled it seems. Thank God it wasn't a cloaking one. Or, you know, that it didn't explode in a nuclear fireball, like so many of them are wont to do for some reason. Over here, we can find more computing equipment, as well as a giddy-up buttercup that was still in the process of being repaired. Seems weird as most adults aren't usually too fussed with these, unless a child was involved. In the opposite room, a turret is set up, ready to shoot anyone who walks in. A bed is also present here. The metal box may have been used as cover, so they could hide behind it if anyone tried to force their way in, and then let the turret take care of it. The desk tells a story. They were in the process of writing something, and it seems they needed a drink in order to get through it. This means it was either hard to do, or they were in grief. The photos are face down, which means they could have been angry at the individual in them, or they couldn't bear to look at them because of guilt. I tried to look at them, but they're just generic. The holotapes here are the recordings I was trying to tell you about. Let's have a listen.
Coral, it's me. I know you're in there, so just open up. The boys saw you up here yesterday. Look, they ain't gonna wait, and I ain't gonna wait. We leave in the morning, so just finish playing Hermit and have your ass at camp by sunup. What in the hell's wrong with you? You don't get to vanish like this. I don't care how many booby traps you hide behind, Coral. We're still here. He's your kid, not mine. So you better get your shit together and come find us when you're done with this idiocy. Maybe you figured out something a long time ago and I'm just learning it now. Just wasn't fair, Coral. If not for this kid. Yeah. Sure thing, kiddo. I'm hungry too. And there's nothing for us here. Let's go.
So, shit. Yeah. It appears that whoever set up here was post-war. They were hiding here. They set up all these traps to discourage anyone coming to get them, or find them. In fact, the group that they left comes looking for them. And they left a child behind. Cunt. It seems like the group spent about a month trying to persuade them to come back. At first they said they would leave, only prepared to wait a day, but they stuck around for over a month. It appears that Coral, the woman hiding here, was the child's mother, and the other woman, who sounded a lot like Bard out of Dick Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, was taking care of the child interim. However, she never did come back. That was the last tape. It appears the other woman had begun to take care of the child instead, and they finally leave, saying that there is nothing left for them here. I don't really have time for parents who abandon children, except in the most extreme of cases, but with the world as it was, and that they had a camp, I see no excuse. Well, we're not done just yet, as I believe I actually found their camp. So this looks lovely and idyllic, right? On the shores of a lake, prime settlement area. As you can see, it is very close to the electrical hobbyist club. Also, it looks like shit went down here. Food and the like can still be found over fires that look like they have only just went out. Several chairs are toppled over, and splashes of blood can be found at various points all over the place. We can also find this Brahmin, more or less torn apart, likely once belonging to the settlers. Mirelurks can be found nesting all over the area. Now, since they had time to build all this, they were not here when the settlers arrived. They must have shown up after, and attacked them, likely when they were in the process of eating, or preparing to, anyway. The camp itself is quite large, with room for many people. However, its proximity to the Hobbyist Club is not my only reason for suspecting it was the original camp. We can find this room, and in it, a teddy bear. Now they are almost always indicative to a child's presence, and sometimes a child's corpse. What would a child do when Mirelurks attack, if not hide under their bed? It looks like they brought a picture with them as well, just like the woman in the club. Lastly, this room over here has a robot model construction kit. I'm not saying they always indicate a proficiency with them, but in this case, they may very well do so. This was the Electrical Hobbyist Club, a small area that made up for its size with the sheer volume of traps to be found within. Inside, we find a woman, proficient with electronics and robotics, hiding away. A woman named Coral. She had a child that she abandoned for reasons unknown. Maybe she had a breakdown and couldn't cope, or maybe she knew about the Mirelurks and wanted them all to die. She stayed in the building, hiding from all of them using traps, ignoring the various messages they sent her, though it's clear that she did listen to them. If that was the camp that we looked at, then going off of the blood and mutilated Brahmin, I would say the settlers either scattered, or the Mirelurks killed them all. Their deaths are not necessarily on Coral, but even if they did survive, it doesn't make up for the sin of abandoning her child. A heavily trapped building and the disgrace of a mother who dwelt there. I hope you liked this look at all of it. If you did like it, give the video a like, and if you want regular updates, subscribe. Any suggestions for lore or future videos should be left in the comments below. Better yet, go onto my subreddit so we can discuss them in more detail. It's linked in the description. If you wish to, you can support me on Patreon. £1 or $1, I ask for no more. Any rewards you would like to see there that I don't have, message me and I will take a look. Follow me on Twitter or Facebook to get regular updates or have a wee chat. Any business you wish to discuss, email me at thenthapple.business@gmail.com and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, goodbye.